All right, everyone, welcome to another deep dive. A lot of you have been keeping up with the Crusader Arms Crypto.
Absolutely.
You might be feeling unsure about what's going on, especially with this official prohibition that just came into effect today, April 4th, 2025.
Firearms reference table.
The FRT.
Exactly. I love a good acronym.
You know, our goal here is simple.
Yeah.
We want to cut through the noise and give you the facts, plain and simple.
Exactly.
We want you to understand what this prohibition actually means for you and what you can do about it. We're coming at this as your training academy, trying to be that voice of clear guidance in these times.
It's a constantly shifting landscape.
Yeah.
We're here to help you navigate, and a good place to start is that official announcement.
Let's do it.
Let's get to what is prohibited now.
Okay, let's get to the heart of the matter, the official prohibition.
Yeah.
The Crusader Arms Crypto,
Right.
made in Canada by Spectre Limited, is on the prohibited list.
It is. And
Now, it's not just one specific model.
that's important to understand right off the bat. It's not just one specific configuration. This prohibition covers all Crusader Arms crypto rifles,
Okay.
regardless of caliber or barrel length,
Okay.
essentially.
So where does this actually get legally defined?
RCMP's firearms reference table comes in.
The FRT.
Yes, the FRT. In there, it clearly puts the Crusader Arms Crypto under Part 1, Paragraph 87 of the Prohibited Firearms Regulations.
For those of us who aren't legal experts, what does that Part 1 thing mean?
So generally speaking, Part 1 of these regulations covers stuff that's considered a prohibited firearm under Canadian law.
Okay.
So there's no wiggle room here. The Crusader Arms Crypto is now a prohibited firearm.
No.
No, the FRT goes further. It lists specific subvariants that are banned.
So it breaks it down more.
It gets specific.
Can you walk us through those models that are now listed?
We've got 4 specific subvariants they name.
Okay.
Sub FRN 1988-06-3.
Right.
One's chambered in 300 AAC Blackout. It's got a 5-round magazine capacity and a barrel length of 267 millimeters.
Okay.
Then you've got Sub FRN 1988-06-2, which is a 5.56 NATO variant, also a 5-round capacity, but it's got a shorter barrel, 192 millimeters.
Okay.
Then there's Sub FRN 1988-06-4, another 5.56 NATO 5 rounds, but this time a 318 millimeter barrel.
So they're really getting every barrel length.
Finally, there's Sub FRN 1988-06-1, also a 5.56 NATO 5-round capacity. This one has the longest barrel, 475 millimeters.
Pretty comprehensive sweep
They're covering their bases.
across all configurations.
Yeah.
And I noticed in the FRT, it mentions not just the original specs from the manufacturer, but also any customizations,
Oh,
whether they're from a shop or someone did it themselves.
they're making sure to include anything that's out there,
Mm-hmm.
whether it's a commercial customization or something somebody did on their own. It's all covered by this prohibition.
They were being thorough.
Yeah, definitely.
say-
This is a big deal.
Here's a deal.
Yeah.
This is a significant for the Canadian firearms community.
Absolutely. It was designed and made right here in Canada.
Right.
Spectre LTD.
Exactly.
This isn't something that was imported and reclassified.
Right.
This was homegrown.
Canadian made and designed.
That's got to be a tough pill to swallow.
It has to carry a lot of weight for Canadian firearms enthusiasts and the industry.
Absolutely. It shows just how complex and ever-changing this regulatory world is.
Especially for manufacturers. Like Spectre LTD, they've got to be on their toes constantly.
Yeah, constantly adapting.
Exactly.
The instructor guidance mentioned this kind of news can be frustrating,
Of course.
worrying for some folks.
Absolutely. And that's where that empathetic approach comes in. It's important to acknowledge those feelings of frustration or concern.
Absolutely.
This isn't easy news for anyone who owns a Crusader Arms Crypto.
Especially those thinking about getting one, too.
Exactly. Or
Yeah.
were saving up or had it on their wish list.
Absolutely.
This situation highlights something for every gun owner in Canada.
Good point.
It shows how important it is to stay in the loop
Mm-hmm.
and be ready to adapt
Right.
as these regulations change.
Constantly.
And they seem to be changing more frequently.
Feels that way.
It's a fundamental part
A core responsibility.
of being a responsible gun owner.
Yep.
Stay informed. Okay, the question on everyone's mind is,
The big why.
why?
It focuses on the what rather than the why.
They're saying this is happening,
Mm-hmm.
not necessarily the why.
Not in detail.
Okay, we can get some context, right?
I think so.
From the things they say
This whole prohibition.
within the government's push
Mm-hmm.
to make gun laws stricter. And they say it's about improving public safety.
Enhancing public safety. That's the big picture goal.
And that seems to be the driving force behind decisions.
That's the framework.
Okay.
And there's mention of increased focus on enforcing regulations already in place.
Oh, so they're not just making new rules. They're really cracking down on making sure people follow the ones that are already there.
Sounds like they're taking a proactive approach to compliance and making sure these new prohibitions are followed.
So while they don't give a specific incident or reason for why the crypto is banned, it seems to be part of a bigger trend towards more restriction. Okay, let's shift gears and talk about guidance and how to move forward from here.
Good idea.
What are the key takeaways?
The biggest thing is to stay informed.
Yeah.
You have to keep up with changes in regulations. It's your responsibility as a firearms owner.
Yeah, absolutely. They say to check out the RCMP Firearms Program website.
Yeah, that's the official
For this information.
Make it your homepage.
Everyone who owns a firearm in Canada should have that bookmarked and be checking it regularly.
I agree.
Of course.
And your training academy. Absolutely.
We want to offer guidance and answer your questions and provide a space for people to talk this out.
Because it can be confusing.
We see ourselves as a resource to help make things clearer and offer support during times like these.
Absolutely.
Beyond staying informed, what else should people keep in mind?
Well, the emphasizes how important it is to be a responsible gun owner.
Of course.
That goes beyond just following the law.
It's more than just ticking boxes.
Being an active and informed member of the firearms community.
Engaging with issues.
Engaging with policymakers constructively. Making your voice heard in a responsible way.
For the listeners who own a Crusader Arms Crypto and are wondering what this means for them.
The ramifications.
Yeah.
Important advice.
They do.
They say you talk to a lawyer.
A lawyer who specializes in firearms law.
Someone who can give you personalized guidance.
Tailored to your situation.
Because we can give general information and support. When it comes to specific legal advice,
you need a professional.
Talk to someone who knows firearms law.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I appreciate you breaking it down clearly.
Happy to help.
Instructor guidance said it's best to approach this with a calm and informed perspective.
Keeping a cool head and getting the facts is the best way to move forward.
Exactly. Change can be tough.
It can.
We're responsible gun owners.
Mm-hmm.
We can navigate these changes by staying informed, following the law, and taking the right steps.
You got it.
Stay updated.
Stay updated.
Use reliable official sources like the RCMP Firearms Program website.
Can't stress enough.
And remember, your training academy is here for you as a resource. Websites like www.bc Firearms Academy are a great place to start for updates and more information. As a final thought, Canada's firearms laws are always changing.
It's evolving.
Understanding those changes and adapting to them isn't just about meeting the bare minimum of the law. It's about making sure responsible gun ownership can continue within our legal system.
Well said.
Thank you.
Thanks for being here.
We hope you found this helpful. We're committed to keeping you informed as things progress.
We'll keep you in the loop.
Until our next discussion, stay safe and informed.
Absolutely.